Is underway, and cops need your help. Who abducted 4-year-old Alisa Maier Monday night from her own front yard and then just let her go over 24 hours later?
She's going to be a scared little girl for a while, and I hope that, she'll get the help she needs. But I'm so glad. I'm so happy.
I can't find words. It's unbelievable. God was watching over that baby.
Alisa's big brother, 6-year-old Blake, saw the entire thing go down. A black car pulls up, a thin man gets out and takes off with little Alisa. Police say the suspect released the child about 80 miles away. The little girl was spotted wandering around a gas station. Get this, the witnesses who spotted the child thought she was a boy because the suspect had chopped her hair off to disguise her. Alisa had no obvious sign of physical injury. Still, she was rushed to a local hospital and reunited with her parents, who were joyous, ecstatic. Meanwhile, a neighbor, who we're going to hear from in just moments right here on Issues, says her son saw a dark car circling the neighborhood for hours and hours just before little Alisa went missing. What was this sicko planning to do with the little girl, and why did he let her go? What did she experience in the 24 hours she was with this predator? Did the sicko know that an Amber Alert had been issued and the entire country was looking for him? Is that why he let her go? Thank God he did let her go. Call me, 1-877-JVM says. That's 1-877-586-7297. Straight out to my incredible expert panel. But first, to Michelle Sagona, investigative journalist with MichelleSagona.com. Michelle, what is the very latest?
I've spoken with investigators on the ground, Jane, and right now they're continuing to follow up with all kinds of leads that have been pouring in on this alleged suspect. Appears to be in his late teens to early 20s, driving a dark-colored car, appears to have damage to the front, possibly a Ford Escort. This little girl was dropped off at a car wash about 80 miles from home last night, and as you mentioned, someone did recognize her, thought that she was a little boy, picked up the phone, called investigators. When they got out to the scene, that's when they realized that it was Alisa. They rushed her off to the hospital. They performed a lot of exams. We don't know exactly what kinds of injuries.
I understand that in the morning, after they got the child back, they decided to go to the hospital again at 4:30 in the morning and do another ER visit, and I'm wondering what that's all about.
And that is something that we're waiting to find out as well. But at this particular time, her grandfather has spoken out to say that she appears to be in pretty good condition. So, again, that may have just been for precautionary purposes.
Who knows if the little child woke up in the middle of the night screaming and crying?
Oh, no, you're exactly right. But I do want to mention, Jane, since 1997, 502 successful recoveries because of the Amber Alert system, and stranger abductions, not very common. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, only about 115 every year.
Amber Alert rocks, and I want to talk with my next guest about that precisely. We are so honored to have with us tonight Erin Runyon, child safety advocate and founder of the Joyful Child Foundation. 8 years ago, Erin's precious 5-year-old daughter was abducted from her front lawn by a sex predator and tragically murdered. Erin has turned her grief into action, and that's just one reason why she is my hero. Erin, so happy to have you here on Issues tonight.
Thank you for having me, Jane.
An Amber Alert was issued, as we just heard from Michelle, immediately after this child was abducted. One reason is cops had a lot of information. They had the suspect description, they had the car description, and that's what they need to put out an Amber Alert. Do you think the Amber Alert was a factor in Alisa being released by this predator?
Oh, I think it's very likely. The Amber Alert is an unbelievable tool. Not only do you have the public searching for this child, but you also have the predator knowing that the entire public is searching for this child, and so the chances of him being caught once an Amber Alert is issued goes up dramatically, and that does scare a lot of them. It is a huge deterrent, and as your other guest said, we've had 500 recoveries, so it's obviously working.
I just have to wonder, and I say this every single time we have a case like this, and thank God this was a happy ending. And I can't tell you how happy I was waking up this morning and seeing this news, because my stomach goes in a knot and I get sick every time I have to cover one of these stories. And when I woke up and I saw she's been found, I was just so happy. It was just like a gift this morning for everyone who got invested in this poor family situation. But I have to wonder, and I'll put this to Casey Jordan, criminologist. If we had video cameras on every major highway, wouldn't we be able to catch these predators even faster? I think we do have a Google map. Let's show it again. He went 80 miles with this child, and God only knows what this poor girl had to endure in the 26 hours that she was with this sicko. If we had video cameras on every highway, the second he reached a major road, the authorities would have been able to match the description of the vehicle up with that vehicle. The irony is they do it for traffic in Los Angeles. Why can't they do it for safety, Casey?
Well, I think we are moving in that direction, Jane. You have to keep in mind we have a limited description of the car. You know, it's a dark sedan. The best clue is that it has this terribly loud muffler and it's missing its hubs on the driver's side. That sort of specificity is super important because I'll bet people are running through everyone they know who might have a dark Escort. The problem with the cameras is going to be expense. I'm with you, Jane, that it's going to be absolutely worth it to save a child's life. And we have recovered so many children and caught predators because of cameras in private businesses, especially gas stations and banks and so on, that the world, as it embraces these cameras, in spite of the privacy issues, we're getting kids recovered because of it.
We need it now. You know, we're spending billions of dollars on foreign wars. Why can't we just put these video cameras up so that cops can look at all the major highways and roadways in real time when there's a problem like this? We have another very special guest on the phone, Anita McClevis. She is a neighbor of Alisa and knows the family. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Well, first of all, what's the reaction in this town that this beautiful little girl has been found okay?
You can't explain it. Everybody is so happy in this town. It was like, oh, I can't believe it. You know, I am so glad this little girl is home.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You say your son saw something very ominous in the hours leading up to little Alisa being snatched by this mystery predator. Tell us what your son saw, man.
Well, him and some friends were on the porch across the street, and maybe within 5 hours, they seen this car going up and down, and they weren't sure if it was the right car or not, but it was a car that, you know, meets the description. And seeing cars going in and out of this little town, there's not a lot of cars. So it kind of brought to mind, you know, he's thinking it might be the car.
So this was a car that was circling for no apparent reason, and it kind of matches the description of this vehicle, a four-door sedan, dark color, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it matched that.
And he was just driving around, driving
up and down. See, there's a lot of little streets here, so he was driving up and down and back around, and you gotta know that the carnival is just in town this weekend. So seeing different cars in town is, you know, you're used to seeing those. But this car kind of stayed around.
Well, hang in there, Anita. I want to bring in Stacy Honowitz, Florida prosecutor, and you've supervised sex crimes. That, to me, gives me chills, that this guy was circling around, it would appear, for hours, trying to find somebody to snatch.
Well, absolutely. That's exactly what was going on in this case, if in fact that car meets the description. We have cases all the time where you do have sexual predators, you know, trolling a neighborhood, and they're trolling that neighborhood for one specific reason, to be able to snatch a child. And hopefully we're going to hear that nothing sexual happened to this child. And you'd be very surprised, kids that age, and even the brother who's 6 years old, are very good at giving descriptions and are very good at telling about what happened to them. So
and now we have to find this predator. Linda, Oklahoma, your question, your thought, ma'am.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Just fine. I'd like to say that I'm so glad that they found that little baby, and people in Florida have all gone crazy. And another thing is, how are we supposed to teach our kids and our grandkids to trust and anybody, you know, when you got to teach them to hate them almost, to keep them away from the predators? I'm scared for my grandson to even go to school.
Well, absolutely, and that's why I say we need to kick it up a notch in terms of having an ability to catch these people immediately. This was excellent outcome. This was the best outcome we can hope for. Look at that precious little girl being taken to the hospital. She's alive. She wasn't found in some horrific situation dead. She's alive, and we all need to be grateful. But we need to catch this guy, and we also need to prevent anything like this from ever happening again. Everyone stay right where you are. We are tracking down